Hey, welcome to our class of Tuesday Night Beer School with me, Chad, of Chad's Beer Reviews. Go it alone this time. The actual style that we're talking about for this class is alt beer, which does not mean alternative like alt rock. A cold conditioned, top fermenting beer from Dusseldorf that has a cleaner and smoother palate than is typical for most ales. Alt refers to the old style of brewing using top fermenting yeast that was common before bottom fermenting brewing lager. All right, so moderately colored, well attenuated. If you don't know what that means, you better study up. Bitter beer with rich maltiness, balancing a strong bitterness. Light and spicy hop character complement the malt. A dry beer with a firm body and a smooth palate. All right, so this is kind of confusing. How can it be a rich maltiness but also a dry beer? I don't know, because I associate rich with like sweet, but I guess they just mean like, very strongly flavored. Like maybe they mean it like more as like robust. All right, comics, classic traditional examples, served from cask. All right, so, and this is interesting. It says stick and doppelstick beer should be entered in the 27 historical beer style, but there is no historical beer for stick beer. I have no idea what they're talking about. Developed in the late 19th century, Dusseldorf to use lager techniques to compete with lager. And it's a story of like Kölsch and a lot of other styles. Older German styles were brewed in the air, but there's no linkage to modern alt beer. All right, so grist vary. Usually German pills, sometimes Unix, small amounts of crystal, chocolate, or black malts. May include some wheat, including roasted wheat. That's interesting. Spalt hops are traditional, but other German or Czech hops can be used. Clean, highly attenuated ale yeast. A step mash program is traditional. Fermented at cool ale temperatures, then cold condition. All right, so more bitter and malty than international amber lager. That's like your Yinglings. Somewhat similar to California Common. That's Anchor. Both in production technique and finish, flavor, and color, though not in ingredients. Less alcohol, less malty richness, and more bitterness than Dunkelsbach. So it's kind of like a Dunkelbach light. And this is confusing. How can it be drier and richer at the same time? And more bitter than a Vienna lager. I think by richer, they just mean like malt tasting. I guess we'll find out. All right, so our vitals, it's, a fairly light beer. It's only 4.3 to 5.5 ABV, 9 to 17 SRM, so it's like, copper to amber, light brown. So I had not heard of any of these examples, but as I was saying at the beginning of the show, I managed to get two. So this is an authentic German example. Pinkus, world's first organic brewery, Münster Alt. This was 5.1 ABV. And again, finishing up a week of all bizarre brewing. This is their Brundlefly. And I actually read the description. And it's like the only beer out of the 5 that I had that is not some crazy spin. Like there's no smoked malt in here, or they didn't use like American hops or anything like that. Like this one is actually going for a traditional alt beer, as far as I can tell. I mean, I guess we'll find out in a minute. All right, so I'm going to pour these, and we will get to judging. All right, I am back. I've got the beers poured. And I guess I'm not going to have any problem telling which one is which off the appearance. Can you guess which one is which? We'll come back to that. All right, so we'll start with aroma, and we'll start with the home team, the Pinkus. Okay, I would say it smells, fairly malty, very, typical kind of German lager aroma. It has a slight fruity ester. Actually, kind of reminds me of a Kölsch that I had recently. I'm really not getting hops on here. I will say like there is like a faint, almost kind of caramel malt or something. But I would just say, like, off the aroma, it's malty, but not, like, ready to, like, the extent of, like, a Bock or something like that. And I wouldn't really call it toasty. But it doesn't really smell like a Pilsner or a Helles either. So, let's smell let's smell the Brundlefly. All right, so this is completely different. This one's pretty toasty. I mean, not surprising. I mean, look, you can see how dark it is, but... Yeah, this smells kind of like a dunkel. Very toasty, like bread crust, a hint of chocolate. I'm not really getting... there's like maybe a faint bit of kind of noble hop pepperiness in there, but just just like the other one, like this one is malt forward. Yeah, this one smells sweet. This one smells dry, I guess, for lack of a better description. All right, let's check the specs. Aroma, malty and rich with grainy characteristics like baked bread or nutty toasted bread crusts. All right, well, the Brundlefly is doing that. Should not have darker roasted or chocolate notes. All right, well, I did say it was a little chocolatey. Malt intensity is moderate to moderately high. Moderate to low hops complement but do not dominate the malt, and often have a spicy, peppery, or floral character. Fermentation character is very clean. Low to medium low ester is optional. All right, again, that's kind of contradictory. So can it be clean or is it medium low esters? I mean, I guess if they mean clean just by like no infection or something. So, all right, so how are we going to score this? Well, I thought the Pinkus was going to be the better example to style. But right off the nose, it didn't really match a lot of what the spec said. So I'm going to go kind of low on this. This is like, I could go like 7, maybe 8. I'm going to start with a 7. The Brundlefly was definitely closer, but I think it went a little overboard on the roasty. Yeah, and it's smelling it now. It's very chocolatey. Like I said, it smells like a dunkel, and I don't think these beers are supposed to be quite that sweet. So this one's... I'm gonna give this a 9. I could even maybe drop that down to an 8. Although, well, actually, that kind of sounds kind of harsh. But anyway, all right. So clearly, it's night and day difference. Like the Pinkus looks like a lager. I would call it golden, maybe deep golden. It's got a slight haze to it. It did pour to a pretty decent foam, and it's still hanging around. The Brundlefly. This looks kind of like well, I know it kind of looks black on camera, but it's actually like a red, like an Irish red. This one's definitely got a haze to it as well. And it did have about a thumb width of foam, although that foam is sticking around on both of these beers. So let's check the specs on appearance. The color ranges from amber to deep copper, stopping short of brown. Bronze orange is most common. Brilliant clarity. Thick, creamy, long-lasting off-white head. All right, well, I think the Pinkus is, I don't know, it says amber. I guess it's more of a gold, and neither of these is brilliant clarity. So, again, the Pinkus is, it's too light and it's not clear. So I'm going to give that a 1. And the Brundlefly, I think it's a little too dark. And, I mean, to me, this is kind of like I'm going to give this a 2. So anyway, here's the best part. We get to drink them, so we will start with the home team. Cheers, or Prost, as they say. I have a feeling this bottle is pretty old because I am tasting... lots of oxidation. Whoa. So I get as I said on the nose, I said like it's caramelly. I think a lot of that sweetness probably has to do with the age. I definitely get a lemon lollipop or sherry kind of thing going here. It is not especially bitter. It's not especially bitter, but it's not especially sweet either. I would say it's pretty well attenuated. It definitely has like a straight Pilsner or other kind of pale maltiness going to it. I mean, if I really reach, I get like maybe a faint bit of like toast, but and it does have like just a faint little bit of like spicy hops or something. But otherwise, to me, it kind of drinks like I don't know. It just drinks like an old lager. All right, so we will try the visitors, the Brundlefly. Cheers. Wow, this one's very sweet. Actually, both of these beers are sweet. Well, I would say this one's even sweeter, but like to me, the sweetness on this one is coming from all the malt flavor on there. Like I said on the nose, this kind of tastes like a dunkel, or Almost like a London brown ale. Yeah, I would definitely call it toasty, roasty, slightly nutty, slight kind of suggestion of chocolate. Not much in the way of hops, which is kind of funny because they meant on the label here, they mentioned like using 4 or 5 different German hops in here. So you would think it would be, pretty hoppy, but they're quite subtle. Yeah, to me, this drink's kind of like a Dunkel. Again, really faint, peppery, floral hops or something like that. As far as the taste goes, I definitely prefer the Brundlefly because it's fresher. But I have a feeling neither of these is really going to conform to the styles guidelines. So let's check those out, shall we? Flavor, malt profile similar to the aroma with an assertive medium to high hop bitterness balancing the rich malty flavors. All right, well, I would definitely say the Brundlefly has rich malty flavors, not so much the Pinkus. The beer finishes medium dry to dry with a grainy, bitter, malty, rich aftertaste. Well, how can it be both bitter and malty rich? I would say that definitely applies to the Brundlefly. Malty rich, yeah. And I'd say the Pinkus is definitely grainy. I guess the Pinkus definitely finishes drier. Although, neither of these beers are like decadent or anything like that. The finish is long-lasting, sometimes with a nutty or bittersweet impression. Okay. Check for the Brundlefly. The apparent bitterness level is sometimes masked by the malt character if the beer is not very dry. But the bitterness tends to scale with the malt richness to maintain balance. No roast. Well, no harshness. Clean fermentation profile. Light fruity esters, especially dark fruit, may be present. Medium to low. Spicy pepper or floral hop character. Light merely character, optional. Is that what I was getting on here? No, that one's, it's very it's almost kind of buttery. It's very, very caramelly. Yeah, so both of these are wrong for the different reasons. This one is, to me, like I said, this is more like a really old Helles lager. And, I don't know, this is not conforming to style 12. The Brundlefly is like slightly more there, but I just it's a little too rich. It's a little too roasty. The hops are very low on it. I'm going to give this a 14, which it still seems generous. All right, so let's talk about mouthfeel. I'll probably put about medium body, slightly, I've said medium plus many times. It's like medium minus, like just under medium. Carbonation, also kind of medium minus or just medium low. I would not call this like a crisp. This is not a crisp, effervescent beer. I would say it's very smooth though. Definitely has like kind of a lingering sweet aftertaste. As for the Bizarre Brewing, yeah, this has a fuller body. I don't know, I would probably say medium full. Not quite, well, I would say this is like a medium plus body. Definitely over a medium. Not quite to the extent of a Bach. Carbonation's fairly low on this one too. It's I'd probably put about medium low. It doesn't drink like a stout exactly, but it's not like a super effervescent crispy boy or whatever. Both of these beers, I will say, are very smooth, and they're both pretty low alcohol, 4.8 and 5.1. So it's not like you're getting any burning or warmth or anything like that. So let's check the specs on how they show. Mouthfeel, medium body, smooth, medium and medium high carbonation, astringency low to none. All right, well, okay. As far as body, okay, smooth, yeah. Medium and medium high carbonation, no. These are both, I don't know, they seem undercarbonated to me. I could maybe reach for medium CO2, astringency low. Yeah, there's definitely no astringency. But again, both of these are not really there. I'm going to give a 3 for both. Overall, I mean, the Pinkus is just a really old bottle, but even if it was fresh, to me, it's still closer to like a Helles or some kind of lighter beer. This just doesn't seem like an alt beer at all to me. Like as soon as I poured it, I was like, that is an alt beer. Yeah, I'm gonna go pretty low on this one. I'm gonna give this a 5. That's a score of 28. The Brundlefly, actually, I like. It's really tasty, easy to drink. To me, it's not really like super conforming to the specs, so I'll give that a 6. So it's a 28 and a 34. It's not great. I mean, but man, I wish we had another judge here, but I just had to get this video made. So there you go. American Brundlefly versus German Pinkus Münster Alt. So if you watch all the way in, I hope you learned something. Let me know in the comments what you learned, since I'm a student here. And I'll see you guys for a regular Chad's Beer Review sometime. Cheers.
Somebody brewed it, Chad just reviewed it. Thanks for watching Chad's Beer Review.
Trust me, the next episode will be a lot better.